Welcome to the Party Invite Podcast, podcast number 58, if you could believe that.
Woo!
Where we strive to bring together a diverse group of enthusiasts to play, discuss, and enjoy everything video games. Tonight, we have party members Sovereign Sid.
Hello.
Vilos.
This guy right here.
Tegan.
Yellow.
And I'm going to read it because it is on the prompter. And I am Country Roads, Take Me Mao. This week, we'll go over what games we've played and our party topic, which is the wonderful week of demos Steam has presented during the latest NextFest. But first, let's get into what we've been playing. Devi, what you been playing?
Well, so I've decided to keep with my Pokemon kick. I've been taking a break from Legends Arceus so I can revitalize and refresh on that, because after grinding out the first area for 5 years, I've kind of hit a wall of inspiration to play that. So I figured taking a break, for a while, a little hiatus would, kind of give me that fresh, new desire to play. So, but I still wanted to play Pokemon because it's Pokemon week, y'all. We got Pokemon news every day this week, and it's super duper cool. But I've been playing Pokemon Unite on my Switch. And recently they I think it was last night, they released Hoopa, the legendary Pokemon from the movie about Hoopa. I can't remember the name of the movie. But it's a legendary Pokemon. And so what its deal is that it starts out in this really cute little genie form, a really little impish genie. It's a ghost psychic type. And its whole thing is having these magic rings, which you can use to teleport things through dimensions. And so it causes a lot of trouble by playing pranks on everybody, by warping stuff through dimensions and coming through portals and popping out and scaring everybody and, hee hee tee hee. So they just released him, or I guess it's genderless, so they just released it. And its ultimate transforms it into, it's called Hoopa Unbound. So the rings that it's using for all these pranks is actually like a confine of sorts. And when they break, it becomes this huge djinn entity, with 6 arms and hella bod. It's just crazy beast thing. So it's crazy because he's so unassuming and stuff. He's all about repositioning the opponents and your friends, and then he transforms into this giant monster and then starts wrecking face. So really intriguing strategies with this new Pokemon, because the rings can teleport you all over the place. So you have to make decisions on, do you need to save your teammates, get them in there, get them out of there? Or do you go more offensive, have some shields and stuff, do double damage and things like that? This is the first Pokemon that I think is really going to have an exceptionally high skill ceiling, just because of how it's not designed to be an attacker, because it is a supporting character. It's a supporter. But this is the most utility support that I think that we've gotten. And a lot of people, I think, off the bat are still going to try and build it to do damage, like Eldegoss, who is a healer, but also packs the punch. I don't know. It's really exciting to see this. This is the second legendary Pokemon that has appeared in the game, the first being Zeraora. So they're really just pulling Pokemon from everywhere. And that excites me. I love having a nice eclectic roster, especially when it comes to something like Pokemon, because there's so much potential to pull from as far as moves and interactions and everything like that. And Hoopa is, I think, scratching the surface with all of its portals and teleportation play.
Yeah. Well, also, there's how many Pokemon are there? There's an insane amount. So, they
900.
they could seemingly never.
Literally millions of Pokemon.
Yeah, they're not going to run out of any content or new characters.
898. I got it mixed up.
898. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect number to stop on.
That's a crazy amount.
No.
Yeah, I did end up watching that Markiplier video, by the way, and it is one of the best things I've seen.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's real good.
I will have to check it out. Admittedly, I think it looks really funny.
If you need to know how Markiplier rates the smashability of Pokemon.
We were all wondering.
Next.
So I picked up a little bit of this. So Cyberpunk finally, a year later, has released an update for next-gen consoles.
We did it. We made it.
Now,
Chris,
we
we
did it.
waited a long time to get here.
We did it,
really
y'all.
did.
Carlos and I played it back when it came out and enjoyed it, but because they were giving away like the free trial, which I still believe is still there, unless I'm mistaken, but it's like a 5-hour trial of the game. So you can get in there and mess around with it and see if it's for you. If it is, I think it's still only like $25. It's on sale right now. At least on PlayStation it is.
I think it's $30 on Steam. Yeah,
$30 on Steam. So with this update, like they add fun stuff for the DualSense controller, and man, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool. It's enough for me to be like, you know what? I think it's time to go back. Like, I think it's time to actually go back there and do that. The only thing that's stopping me is another game that just came out that's also open world. That is, might also be a huge time sink. But Cyberpunk, still very cool. I'm also playing a character I hadn't played before. I'm doing the Nomad and going that route and everything.
What did you play the first time?
First time as Street Kid. And then I messed around with a Corpo for a little bit. Like I started another character and started messing around with a Corpo and played for maybe 10 hours or so. And then, but I personally loved Cyberpunk 2077 and actually think that it's really, really good. It just, they bungled that. So I'm excited now that a lot more people are going to get the chance to play it properly, as long as they have, a next-gen console or a PC and all the, like, it ran fine on PC before, but apparently there's new areas and stuff. So there is some new content in there.
Oh yeah, this is a next-gen update and not just a PS5 update, isn't it?
Yes, it's across the board.
I got tunnel vision there. I completely forgot it was even out on the Xbox.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's there. It's across the board. The same update applies to PC as well. So that new content that's there will be there. But yeah, it's awesome. I still love it. Felt no different like playing through that first area and being like, yeah, this is pretty rad. This is still pretty cool. But yeah, I'm sure other people have heard about that. But the reason why I'm a little worried about possibly going back to that open world is because I started Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I will say that I'm not very far in. I just got to Chain Scrape, kind of got the missions I needed from there and started going out into the world to start completing those missions. And I will say I'm very bad at this. I feel like the scanner doesn't do as much as it did maybe in the first game. Maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like I'll be like, oh, here's a couple machines here. Let me just take them out really quick, and I'll kill those couple machines, and all of a sudden I'll turn around and it'll be like, you were detected. And I'm like, how? Oh, this fucking giant other machine that's right here that I didn't see.
I will say, I was actually thinking about this because we were talking about it last night, and I was like, there's on the one hand, we discussed in the first game, because I just, 2 days ago, started up Zero Dawn for the first time. Because I've really been enjoying watching Lizzie play Forbidden West. And I was totally content to watch the first one. But now I'm like, okay, look, I want to shoot my bow. Like, I see how Lizzie is speccing her character, and I'm like, I want to do the other stuff. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I play it myself. So I load up the game, and in the first game, it seems like you can see enemies through walls and through terrain and stuff. So it's much easier to scan every single thing before you even step out of the bushes. Where in this one, you have to get much more line of sight on them. But the other thing, Chris, is that specifically in that area, there are there are the bristlebacks. There are the boars, right? They're like boar machines. And then when you kill those, as you kill machines in that area, the scavengers come out, the hyena machines. So those scrappers will just appear while you're fighting. So they wouldn't have even been there to scan beforehand. That's something that, like, as soon as you fight when you're out in the wilderness, you got to keep in mind, like, these hyenas are gonna come a knocking, because they'll just roll up on you.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm wanting to play like stealthily, wait for them to come around or throw a rock for them to come over, stab them with my spear, take them out, or use my bow and arrow stealthily and take them out. But I feel like a lot of this early game of me starting like coming to grips with the controls again and all that is I'm trying to be sneaky, shit goes south, and I'm literally just rolling for my life and heavy chopping people with my spear. I'm like, this is not really how I want to be playing this, but I think I'll get better at it, and I'm already liking what it's doing story wise. I'm interested, and I've heard really good things about where the story goes. So it's just gonna take some getting used to. And once I'm very early on, I'm like barely past the tutorial, basically.
Yeah.
Like I'll say it.
Oh, how far in do you
Good.
think that is? Like an hour? Because I watched Lizzie play the start of the game, and I'm like, oh, okay. Some of this looks familiar. You're talking to people I recognize. This is cool. And then finally, she got to what I realized was the actual beginning of the game, and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that this was kind of a tutorial this whole time. Like in the first game, you're a kid, you're a child, and you're learning how to hunt. It's clearly a tutorial. But in that one, you're just going around, and you're just like, let's check out our pals. Let's see what they're up to.
For sure. Yeah, I like after the big you have a big fight with and this isn't anything crazy because it's in the trailers and stuff, but you have a fight with the big Cobra machine, and that's sort of like now you got through this, now you get to continue the story and move on. But yeah, that fight did not go so great. It took me a minute to figure that out, how I was going to do that. I feel like I relied on traps more in the first game as well. I'm just starting to get them, really. So I'm wondering how that's going to go. I still remember in the first game, anytime you like had a plan and you were like, I'm going to take out this machine, this big ass machine. Here, I'm going to set some traps here. I'm going to set some traps here. And then I'm going to shoot it. And here we go. It was always chaos. It was always like, yeah, I think I know how this is going to go. And then immediately you're like, oh no, this is not at all how this was supposed to go. But I love the blend of like the tribal aspects and the sci-fi and all that kind of stuff. It's very cool. And it's beautiful. I really like something that there's a lot of J.J. Abrams lens flare in this game,
for sure.
and I'm here for it. As you see some of it happen right here in this trailer, but I am here for the lens flare because I think it looks great. And also, there's a scene when you finally get to the Forbidden West and you start moving west, where you are on like an elevator, like crane thing that's sort of taking you down into the valley, and that whole moment is awesome while this guy's like explaining to you what's going on, and you're like looking around the valley and you can see all this stuff, and you're getting the like sun flare off the sun. It's just very cool looking. It's like I love the bright colors and stuff that are in this game.
That picture I used on Facebook or on our socials as like the like say screenshot thread. That was when you are first, like you're 5 seconds into that descent into the proper open world area, and it's like literally 5 seconds, and I was like, Lizzie, pause it, I gotta check out photo mode.
Yes.
And so we played that for like 10 minutes. It was great, but I mean, you just can't help tripping over beautiful scenery and stuff around there.
Yeah, and I will say that the best looking part of this game are the faces. Like, it's insane what the faces look like.
Yeah, and to that effect, I really, really enjoy how well they have depicted people of color in this game. Like the way that they captured their features, their skin, like is so vibrant. Like when Capcom is actually really notorious for this. Whenever there's like rendering of like Black people, they turn out to be like either really ashy or really like stony. The features are never right. They're either too flat or like too wide or too something. But this, like, there's actually a photo set that I want to share, but it's like a Facebook photo set. So I'll just share it to the group later on Facebook. But it's just It's like they plucked black people from real life and put them in the game. It's great. It's so great.
Yeah, the facials phrasing. The facial rendering is like pretty crazy. Like it feels like the moment like the playing like LA Noire for the first time. You remember that? You like it was all like facial capture and you were just like, "Whoa, look what they're doing with that." Like it's like pretty great. Like and I wouldn't say that this is like a better looking game or anything than The Last of Us or anything like that, but
I would.
it's doing
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would. The cutscenes in The Last of Us are amazing, but this game looks amazing all the time.
Exactly.
So does the
Well, you're
Last
right.
of Us
You're The Last of Us
does
2,
some
especially if you're in
cutscenes, yeah.
photo mode.
Like
It does.
they
Yeah.
both use very specific cinematic techniques on top of this ridiculous technology, and I mean, like just mentioning the rendering of these characters, like they're not only modeled incredibly well, but then they've got an extra layer of texture, and then this other layer of texture, like all the war paint that everybody has, it's not a part of their face. It's another layer of texture. Like it's
Yeah.
just they just keep adding levels of amazing detail on top of one another, and it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
For sure. And I will say, and I wonder if I'm turning into a Thomas here.
Uh-oh,
but
don't do that. Nobody wants that.
I think I'm turning into a Thomas because we'll talk about it later when we talk about these demos. There was a game that was pulling me away from Horizon, and I was like kind of stunned by it. I'm like, maybe I'm just not that into open worlds anymore. Or when somebody's like, "Hey, it's open world," I'm like, who has time for that? Who has time to do that much? Like it's just so much, you know, like it's like daunting to be like, you can go anywhere you want. Do I want to go anywhere I want, or do I want you to grab my hand and pull me along for the story? Because I kind of just want you to grab my hand and pull me along. So like when it gave you the option at the beginning of the game, it was like, do you want to do the adventurer or do you want to do like the guided led? I was like, please guide me.
Please,
I'm like,
God.
I do not have time to just be wandering around this world for hours on end. I need to like get in, knock out a couple missions, and get out. You know, I can't be here forever. So yeah, I just wonder if I'm getting old. I'm getting old, y'all. The open world game is less enticing, but like I said, I was kind of thinking about getting back into Cyberpunk again. But at least I know the world. Like I kind of know where to go and what to do. Whereas in like Horizon, I'm like almost scared to go do anything because I'm like, I don't know what's over there. I don't want to mess anything up. If I go over there, shit's gonna be all sideways, and then I'm gonna be in a real pickle. And I won't know what to
just
do. I won't
imagine
know how to get out of it.
Chris is on some beautiful overlook, and he's like, "Am I ready to finally go over there?" And then he immediately gets hit in the back by a machine. Just the thing tackles him off the cliff. He's like,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll get my bearings a little bit better.
Like
As
there
it
was this
should be.
moment, like right as you come down from that trek and you talk to that dumb priest, and you like walk down. There's like a couple machines right there. So I stealth killed these couple machines. And I was like, cool. And then it kept saying, and it was still in battle music. It was still like, and I was like, okay, well, it's clearly there's something else here. And it says like the red icon, but I'm like, there's literally, like I was fighting this machine and it disappeared. And I was like, where did it go? It had walked away and like walked down the hill. And I looked down the hill and there was 4 more of the same exact machine all lined up with red eyeballs. And I was like,
Uh-oh.
okay, well, this is good.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
Fun.
Shut up with his buddies.
So I had to like kind of sneak around and all this to try to like re-engage the situation. But yeah, I just feel like the machines seem to be everywhere a little bit more maybe than the first game, but it's been so long. It's been 5 or 6 years since that game came out. So it does feel like I take 2 steps and I'm like, oh shit. It's not like, hey, go explore that area. It's like carefully walk for 100 miles this direction, but crouching the entire time.
Yeah.
Yes, the Arceus approach.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ride some of the
They gonna
machines
get
and
you.
stuff, but you know, that still triggers them. They'll still like start chasing after you and stuff. So You know, I kind of want to be sneaky. I want to grab all the stuff that I can. I want to build up my arsenal, and I love that there's so many skill trees this time around. There's like 6 skill trees, so you can really spec out Aloy how you want her to play. Like, I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
But the way I always do it is I never usually go full tree. I usually am like, I kind of want some of this and some of this and some of this. I want to be balanced rather than going in there being like, I can only stab people.
Yeah.
I can't shoot an arrow for shit, but I can stab somebody.
Yeah, Lizzie went. She does the same thing. So she went first into infiltrator for stealth. Then she went for ranged combat, so just pew pew in with the bow. But those are only 2 of the trees. The one I would have taken first, which would have been a mistake, as Lizzie showed me later, I would have taken the one that's all about taming the machines and having them fight for you. I was like, oh, you should take that first. And she's like, yeah, but I haven't unlocked the ability to tame anything yet. I'm like, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Oh.
But I would have done that and the like warrior combat where you're doing more melee spear stuff. But there are slingshots. There is this, and Chris, you can. I'm not really spoiling anything because you can see this in the skill tree as soon as it's unlocked. Like as soon as the skill tree is available. There's this like boomerang blade thing that you can throw and catch, and if you catch it 3 times in a row, the third throw is explosive, and it looks very cool. It like tears armor off of the enemy. And all this
That
stuff.
sounds great.
But,
I want that.
Yeah, and so you can spec into each of those. So if you find a weapon you really like, you can dive straight into that. It's really cool to see how many things are available. So yeah, I started Zero Dawn, and who knows when I'll end up beating that. But after what I'm seeing, I've got to play this at some point.
I also quickly want to shout this out before we move on, because I don't feel like I've seen much of anybody talk about this in reviews, but there is like story decisions in it. There's like moments that occur where you can change how you react to things, and it'll change how the characters react to you.
It does.
I don't know. I just found that interesting because I don't remember that from the first game.
Well, the first one still has. I mean, they both have the one where it's like you can do the strength option, the smart option, or the compassionate option.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
I just don't remember that. So I just like, oh, they've added like another little layer here.
Yeah, so you can like shape out Aloy a little bit, but I think that in the end the result is always the same. It's just that you get to choose. You know, you get to add a little bit of your own flavor to it.
I see. Yeah, I was surprised because I don't remember that in the first game, but 6 years ago. So
yeah, it was a while ago.
Oh my gosh.
I think it was 2017, so like 4.5 years ago. But still.
Well, however, it's been a long time.
It's been a minute, all right?
COVID years count double, so...
So there's a mini game in Horizon called Machine Strike. It's, Gwent is to The Witcher as Machine Strike is to Horizon. So it's this board game where you can find and purchase pieces for it on a board. And it's all about, like, each of your pieces can move anywhere at once based on whatever type of unit it is. But they're all types of machines that you see in the world. And they've got, movement. They've got attack and defense. They've got the range at which they can attack. And then the whole thing you're trying to vie for is on the board. It has different levels. So you always want to have the high ground on this board. When you do that, you get all sorts of benefits and stuff. But it's nice because Lizzie has no interest in that game, and I like that game enough that I want them to turn it into its own thing, the way that Gwent was turned into its own game, that you can just play on its own. I really like it. It could use a little polish. My biggest complaint is that the pieces on the board, just like the machines out in the world, they have armor on one side, usually the front, and a weak spot, which is usually on the back. So wherever you set them on the board, you need to rotate them so that you get the most advantage. But there's, depending on what screen you're on, it will tell you 4 different buttons to rotate the piece. So if you're attacking, it's circle. if you've already sat here and you're just going to move before ending your turn, it's triangle. If you haven't moved yet, you're going to use the paddles. I'm like, look, I don't need 4 different buttons to rotate my piece. Just give me one button. But other than that, the mechanics of this little mini game are really fun. And Lizzie's been nice enough to like log out in the main settlements where I can do all those challenges before the next time she logs in. So
Nice.
Yeah, that's Machine Strike. I really do hope that becomes its own game. So
It very well could be. I mean, they did it with Gwent. It just depends on how much time they find, players are spending in there.
right.
What else have you been playing?
Well, yeah, if we want to segue to my stuff, actually, before I get into, so I've watched Lizzie play a whole lot of Horizon. Watched my partner play that, and then I played the Machine Strike stuff on my own. I told you I started up Zero Dawn, but I've barely played the tutorial. Like, I got to the moment where Aloy grows up, and then I hit save and quit. So I don't really have much to say there, but I wanted to mention that on our community groups, Elden Ring is coming out tonight. There are people on our friends list right now who have Elden Ring popping up. And in these threads where people are talking about Horizon and they're talking about Elden Ring, Chris, you mentioned the open world stuff, right? Where it can be intimidating, to say the least. Where it's like, I only have so much time. Can you hold my hand through this, please? Give me the guided tour. Yeah. And it was Aaron, one of our friends in the group. He had said that Horizon is more linear. It's not as open world as a game like Breath of the Wild, where you can literally do anything. And to me, it never felt like, when I was watching Lizzie play that, never felt like there were real quests in that game. It felt like maybe they were like, hey, there's something dangerous over there. Go do it if you feel like it. Yeah. Which is fine. I think that's one of the best parts about that game. So in Horizon, I actually expected it to be, in Forbidden West, I expected it to be a little more open world. And the world is open. There's nothing stopping you from going anywhere. But it does a much better version of really directing you on a certain path. It kind of reminds me, back when I played World of Warcraft, as the expansions came out, you could see where instead of just a bunch of NPCs all over the map sending you to all which ways, instead, a bunch of them in one area will all send you to the same area. And then when you come back, a bunch of other people will send you to a new area. That's kind of how Horizon feels to me, where it feels a lot more, it's trying to point you in a specific spot. You can go explore anytime you want. But Elden Ring, on the other hand, seems like a game where, according to the reviews I've read, this world is huge and open, and if you are stuck on a boss, and in Souls games, there are definitely not quests. Like, you just explore. There's hardly a story. There's lore, but there's hardly a story. I'm interested in watching people stream that, because for the same reason that I have open world fatigue, this one seems nice because you can go in one direction, fight a boss, and maybe just die over and over and say, you know what, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm not stuck going, I don't have to beat this one boss to progress. I'm just going to go over there, fight that, and then I'll come back when I'm stronger and see how that goes. But I've been really interested to see these conversations on Horizon and Elden Ring back to back with each other, even while Cyberpunk is getting this life breathed back into it because of this update. So open worlds abound, but I'm really excited at how excited other people are about all this.
I mean, think about the caliber and level of games that just released. Horizon and Elden Ring. 2 games that, if you would have told me 6 months ago, hey, you're going to be playing that in 6 months, I'd have been like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's so, like, I know I say this all the time, but it's hard to believe that we're here and people are playing it. You know?
And this
because
is hot
how long it takes for these to get there.
Yeah. It's just like all of the pent-up energy from the pandemic is all just like, all right, we're coming back. We've got everything you've wanted to play. Because this is also weeks after Pokemon Arceus came out, which is the most open-world Pokemon game.
Yep.
Of course, these games have been in development for ages. It's not like they just started a couple years ago during the pandemic. But it was just like, hey, you guys want to go outside, right? Well, here you go. we're gonna emulate the outdoors. So what have I been playing? So yeah, that's all I have to say about Horizon. I'm excited to see more of that. I think Lizzie's probably halfway to 2/3 through the game. Does that seem reasonable? Oh, 30%. She looks at me like I'm crazy. Okay, well, we have plenty of game ahead of us. So I'm excited for that. What I did play this past weekend was Limnus Gate. Chris, you played that for Extra Life last November.
I did. Yep.
So I watched you and Mr. Jerk play that, and I'll explain for anybody who doesn't know what that is. I'll explain it more in a moment. But I played that with Shanny Pack, who's been on a bunch of our content. You're going to see him soon in some of our demos that come out over the next few weeks. But he and I played that for brunch, and we just threw ourselves at everything. We tried everything out. Limnus Gate is on Game Pass. It is a shooter with classes on a time loop. So it kind of actually I don't get to compare a lot of games to Into the Breach, but Into the Breach is a game where you always know your enemy's intents, and no matter what you do, those intents will follow through. So like in Into the Breach, a bug says it's going to attack right in front of it. It doesn't matter where you move that bug, it's still going to attack in front of it, right? So you want to trick it into damaging its ally or something like that. Limnus Gate is similar, where the entire game, which happens in 5 different rounds, the entire game happens in a 25-second loop where you play your first character, you go out there, and you complete whatever the objective is. Maybe it's deathmatch, maybe it's to shoot these towers. There are 4 of them in the map. Maybe it's to pick up these little nodes on the map and run them back to your base. But either way, you do your first loop, you have 25 seconds to do whatever you're going to do, and then it's the next round. Chris, when you played the mode on 1v1 where you take a turn and the other person spectates, and then they take a turn and you spectate. Shannon and I started with that, but we ended up moving to where we're both going at the same time, and the pacing is so much better. Because we're not good enough to make good use of that spectator time. Like, we see what happens, but the game has the potential to be so complex that we're not even good enough at the game to wrap our heads around the possibilities of what moves we could make. Because the game doesn't really... It just sends you out there. It says, go get them. You know? Play in the shooting range for a minute, and now go play. And you're like, but what are the strategies? Like, what am I supposed to do? Because there are no NPCs. You only fight against human players. So anyway, Shanny and I play this. We had a blast doing this. The idea is, like, in this 25-second loop, you know, the first round goes, and then in the second round, your character from the first round is going to go do its thing while you're simultaneously playing a second character, and you go do something new. And that stacks over and over until you're on the 5th round, and then that's when the points actually take effect. So I could be holding every single objective for the first 4 rounds, but if in the 5th round you pull off some crazy thing where you kill each of my guys right before they can complete their objective, you know, and maybe by killing by killing my guys, your guys all survive, so they complete their missions, you know, what they were supposed to do. And in the 5th round, you get all 4 points. Boom. You just won the first half of the game. But
yeah, I found myself a lot when I was like running out of time with the character to just like spray and pray in the direction I knew somebody would be, just hoping that a random bullet would hit them so that I'd get a little tick off of somebody.
Well, so it turns out you're just as likely to hit yourself when you do that as you are an enemy, because more than once during that demo, in an early loop, I was playing with the rocket launcher person, and I had like 8 seconds left, and I knew I couldn't really do anything useful because it was one of the early rounds. There's no one to shoot at yet. So I was just like, and I just fired stuff off into the world. And like later in my 3rd or 4th loop, I'm just walking around a corner, and I get shot by my own rocket from earlier in the game, and I'm just like, boy, should have seen that coming.
Yeah,
I did it to myself.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So it is nice because when you do this, it's hilarious to trip over your own shoelaces and kill yourself or something like that. Because there is literally no one to blame but yourself. There's no teammate who goofed up or anything. You had all of the knowledge, information, everything to do as well as you could do, and you shot yourself with your own rocket. Great job.
Yeah, I remember when I was playing with Jerp, we had a moment. It was the nodes one where you have to take the nodes back to the base and score. And I remember it was like late in the game, and I was getting frustrated because I was like, "Man, what am I gonna do?" And as I'm like running around the map, I had the node at one point. That character dropped the node, and then his character picked it up and dropped the node because he died, and it fell like right in front of me. And I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
let me just run over here
In
and score with it."
in the final round of one of our matches, Shanny's like hollering, and he's just like, "I can't believe I thought I had it." And I'm like, I wasn't even on the same side of the map as you, so I know that whatever happened wasn't me. Like I didn't even see you that whole round. And so he goes, "Come back and watch this." So we watched the replay, and one of his very earliest characters had gone to pick up this node and tried to run it back to base, but at some point in a later loop, that person got killed before he could pretty much step out of the base. Like he got nothing done because his character got killed. Well, he ends up killing one of my characters, the one that was going to kill that first character, right? Well, he didn't realize when he had done that, by saving his own character, that first character went and picked up the node and tried to run it back. But on the 5th round, not realizing that his first character was now alive instead of dead, like it was pretty much the whole match, Shanny tries to go pick up this node, and his other character gets in front of him and picks it up like a split second before he does. So with no time to spare, he has to make the decision: do I shoot my own character and steal the node from him, or do I try to let this play out? And I think he let it play out, but then the character ended up dying anyway, so the node fell on a bunch of poison in the middle of the most dangerous part of the map.
Oh no.
But so and I had no idea any of this was happening because I was off on the other side of the map doing my own thing. But it's very funny. Shanny described it when we started playing as a Tenet simulator, right? Christopher Nolan's movie where everything's backwards and forwards and all this stuff.
In the chat here, he says Christopher Nolan presents shooties.
Yep. And that's exactly right. You are the goof troop, he says. It's a really good time. We did 2v2 matchmaking online, where one person on each team went, and there was extra fun to that because he would be going and I could give him callouts from the drone that you spectate with. It was very fun, but the second time we tried to queue up, we were in the queue for 12 minutes on a Saturday in the middle of the day, and we couldn't find a game. So that tells us that if we really want to have fun with this game, we have to do private lobbies. So,
yeah.
Better than Tenet. Vilos, Tenet was a good movie. You just couldn't hear the dialogue for most of it. Yeah, right. So,
What?
so
That
yes.
is me in the theater.
Yeah, when Lizzie and I went to see that, the whole time, like, we're looking at each other, we're like, did you understand any of that? And it turned out it didn't matter. Time travel, am I right? But that's Limnus Gate. We're going to have a community night sometime here soon because there are a lot of people who are interested in that game but haven't picked it up. And knowing now that you pretty much have to have private lobbies, we're gonna make that happen so we can actually experience that the best it can be. So
You probably should have had a trailer playing for it so people could have seen it too.
Honestly, maybe you're right, but it's confusing enough that it's probably better this skate. Better this way.
Vilas, what have you been playing?
I have not gotten to play a whole lot this week, and I'm not gonna say Arceus again. But I did buy Bravely Default 2, Tales of Vesperia, and Catherine Full Body. So you'll never hear from me again.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Catherine is such even though it's like kind of raunchy, it's such a good game. It's so good. I love the versus mode.
I really can't wait. I've been wanting to play it forever, and it's just one of those classic anime titles that like you just you just have to have for weeb credit. So I'm heading that direction.
Yep.
I feel like all Atlas games are just instant weeb credit. It's just like
Yeah.
Subworld with a really crazy like demons. Oh yeah, that's an Atlas game. Just like with Final Fantasy. Is there a crystal? Yeah, it's Final Fantasy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm excited for so many RPGs this year, especially a lot of JRPGs, and I'm officially going to take down at least one JRPG a month. So Arceus was this month's. So we're gonna see where it heads from here. With Triangle Strategy, I'm gonna count that. That's probably gonna be 70, 80 hours of solid playtime. So
Chris, you're gonna play that one, right? You're gonna platinum that game, probably.
Yeah, let me platinum it on my Nintendo Switch that I don't have.
Still,
I'll sell you mine. Just
now
give me a minute.
replacement for. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a feeling it's just gonna gather dust, and I'd rather have a Steam Deck with how many PC games I already own. I just feel like that's
you
the
just made me
route at this
sad.
point.
So tomorrow, all of the Steam Deck, if you were a part of the first wave reservations, everyone will be getting an email tomorrow about like to reconfirm, because if you don't respond to that email, check your email, y'all. In 72 hours, you'll be next
It's
from the
fine.
list, and then it'll be go to the next person on the reservation list.
Really?
So I just realized I didn't pay the full price for my reservation, and now, after all the pandemic and everything, I'm not in the position I was when I reserved it. And so I'm just like, what do I do? Do I just like die of a broken heart, or do I start a website? Wink, wink. Like, what's going on?
Mortgage everything.
Are you telling me that you did not pay the price and now you're paying the price? 'Cause that's what it sounds like.
I
to me.
didn't think that the leopard would eat my face.
Thomas, you want to kick off this party topic because it's a banger. It
It's a-
slaps.
It absolutely is a banger. It does slaps.
It does slaps.
Our
I
party
always
topic.
describe things like that.
Our party topic is the Steam NextFest that's going on right now, and y'all, it is popping. There are so many demos. For those of you here listening to us live, you've got several days. I mean, this ends next Monday or Tuesday? One of those days. But it's about a week long. We're about halfway through, and it's a demo fest on Steam where games of all shapes and sizes are available to play for free. So I usually don't play that many demos, but after the week that I've had, I think that's going to change. I've had so much fun playing this stuff. So we're each going to talk about what we've been playing as far as the demos go, things that we're interested in, and you'll kind of get an idea of the videos that you'll see from us over the next several weeks. I was talking to everybody before the show. I always say, like, let's try something out so that we know how to break it, or we can break it so that we know how to fix it. And these demos, I'm glad we did them offline because, man, we just learned so many new things that could break. It's new and exciting, but that's the best way to get better, you learn what's possible. But just like the demos, that's exactly what it's all about. We go into these, and you have no idea what to expect. So you just got to roll with it. Some of the demos are very polished. Some of them are barely games. They are truly all over the place. So we're going to start with Carlos, what you've been playing. So you announced that Steam NextFest was going on. I had no idea it was on the way. I didn't know what to expect at all.
Yeah, I missed it too.
But as soon as
That
you
makes me feel
announced...
so much better because I didn't know either.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's kind of a surprise, at least to somebody like me who doesn't pay super close attention to that specific part of the industry. But Carlos comes out of the gate and he's like, "Yo, Neon White is available for demo," and I'm like, "I don't know what that is, but I'm glad you're excited."
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about this. Let's
So
go.
yeah, let's tell us about that.
Yes. Yeah, whenever you get that video in there, the video is actually mine that I recorded. I recorded the whole demo. Dude, okay. So Neon White is directed by the whole creative process is by Ben Esposito, who you may know as the guy that created Donut County, one of my favorite games over the past couple of years, and we streamed that sucker, and it was great, so fun. Neon White literally the entire idea of the project is because he wanted to make something that was the exact opposite. And that is the case. This is such a unique game to me. Like, as you can see in the video here, there's actually a hyper anime visual novel style story that's a whole lot of fun. Of course, you're playing a dude that's dead that is basically having to fight his way into heaven. Um, the people that are dead are kind of in this limbo state, and they're all called neons. And the main characters all have a different color. So your main character is neon white. They specifically White has an amnesia problem that he thinks it's
Of course.
because of the way he died potentially. Um, and along the way, he meets these other neons and finds that he has links to them, and it's a very well, I guess the best way to say it is it's a very Cowboy Bebop kind of plot line, and coincidentally, the very good Steve Blum happens to be neon white. So it's so fun. It's in itself, it's an homage to great anime as far as the story is concerned. But then you get to the gameplay and you're just like, what the hell am I doing? And it's fantastic. As they describe Neon White on their website, it's a single-player speedrunning FPS. And this is where you do have a card-based system as far as the visuals of your weapons. So you start out with a katana, and then you get a variety of different guns. And you really just, throughout these levels, you platform, and you're picking up these cards that are your weapons. They have a normal action ability, and then they have a discard ability. So, as you see here, the katana card, I'm not really using it or anything yet, but it is a simple basic attack. You just have a slice attack, and it does minimal damage, right? That's a card that basically doesn't ever leave you. And then you find another card that's basically a pistol, and its discard ability is that it allows you to have a double jump. And then there's other ones like a different variety of machine guns that one allows you to just go across like a solid 50-foot horizontal slash, right? And then later on, you find one that's basically a grappling hook, and it doubles as a rocket launcher. It's really wild. It's not an idea that I would have expected, like, at all.
Yeah.
But it's very fun. It is the most floaty FPS I've ever seen.
Even more
It's
so than Lawbreakers?
probably. I never played Lawbreakers, but I would bet so.
Wow.
Watching this part of the video, it's really funny because
Slip and
the
slide.
water here is like, the water is super slippery, and it doesn't really have any sort of traction. You're just flying. And this circle here where this water is, I am basically pulling back on the control stick in order to control myself on this water ring thing.
Hey.
The platforming is really intriguing. As I said, it's floaty, but it's floaty because in the early stages, you have to figure out your motion. You really have this very minimal tutorial set of levels. I think about 4 or 5 levels to start, really gets you into how the motions work. And then as you get on into the demo, which was about an hour and 10 minutes for me, you get some really, really tough stuff, really end game sort of levels, and it just opens up this whole world of really intriguing platforming that is just highly unique gameplay. There's nothing else to say about it.
It's really wild to like look at it and be like, yeah, this is from the same guy that did Donut County.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
like it doesn't even seem like that's a real sentence.
for real. And the cool thing is they very clearly have a great budget with what they did here. It's, when you really think about the actual programming of it, it doesn't seem like it was that much, because you really just, you have, as you can see in the corner here, you have your number of demons that are in this level. You have to make sure that they're all dead before you can actually complete the level and hit the diamond thing that you have to walk into. And that's it. Like on a basic level, it seems simple, but then the game rewards you on your times and the way that you perform. But especially the times. Like the faster you get stuff done, the more easy it'll be for you to unlock further missions in the game. And at the end of the demo, it did say that there were over 100 missions after in the full release, which is like a week and a half from now.
Oh, really? What's that soon?
Yeah, and it'll be on Switch and PC. It's just so unique, such a good time, and it's really not a game that I would normally get into, but just the real satisfying parts of it attracted me, and this story is just so fun. As I said, I've been gaining weeb cred for a while now, so why not do it with Neon White? The characters are tropey, but in a very self-referential way. The art is outstanding, and the voice acting. I know Steve Blum's not the only recognizable actor in this game, so I look forward to actually seeing the final credits here, because they are some interesting characters and really great voices. I can't recommend Neon White enough, and they've got a super pop in Discord that I've been a part of for a few months now. They're very into the feedback from the demo and really getting into it. So, like, just knowing how dedicated the devs are to this, and Ben Esposito in particular, it's just really refreshing to see, and it's one of those indie things that you like to prop up as much as possible.
I think my favorite thing about it is going to be seeing all of the different clips of people approaching levels differently, just
Yep.
because it is very much a speedrunning game, and speedrunning game means optimal movements or just unorthodox solutions. And I remember when they first announced it for the Switch, the trailer that they had was crazy. Like, he shot a missile with a rocket launcher and then like did the 50-foot dash or whatever past the demon that he had aimed at, and then it blew up behind him. And then he just teleported to another demon and like slashed it in the face. And then it was just like watching, if anyone is familiar with the Super Smash Brothers Melee break the target speedruns, it
Yeah.
was like watching one of those. It was
And it's,
it was amazing.
like I said, it's that kind of satisfying too, because like if we released like this whole video that I did, there are like two levels that just really I kept messing up the same thing over and over, and it kept like I was aggravated to the extent of just, do I really have to do this whole thing over again? But I was never frustrated to the point that I was going to rage quit or anything like that. It was refreshing every time you see, those extra few seconds off the final end time of that mission, and it's super quick. It's buttery smooth. I don't think it's going to have any kind of issues running on the Switch, and it's perfect. Like the levels that were in the demo, I think the longest level, as far as a full run, was like a minute and a half,
What?
and that's it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
all very quick.
Yeah. The typical level, I think the average was like 35 seconds that I was pulling in, and I did get top rank on a few of them. So
Nice.
I think it's going to be one of those that does get me a little bit more competitive for sure.
It's very
Let's
cool.
go. Wow, we're all
Milos, thank you, Milos.
we're rotating spaces here, right?
Right?
We're all sitting in somebody else's chair now.
Yeah.
Did you want me to go on my next one, or do we want to get to another?
Yeah, go ahead and
person?
go ahead and
yeah.
run through your others if
Okay.
they're,
Yeah.
you just want to shout them out.
There were two that I just wanted to shout out. That's Validate and I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. Both are stop. Yeah, I get that face. Validate is very much a more inclusive, highly representative dating sim that is another one for the weeb cred. Another one that feels a lot like Boyfriend Dungeon, but really bringing a whole lot more character, and it's really stressing people of color. It's been one of those games that I've been watching for a long time, and it's supposed to be in the next couple months that it releases, I believe. Just a really fantastic thing by good people that I want to shout out. I Was a Teenage Exocolonist is mostly like visual novel plus space survival sim, so to speak, where you're kind of growing this character from literally from age 10 to age 19, making all these different choices like emotionally and like I think there's even like growing crops and taking care of this exocolony and stuff like that. It's very intriguing. I did download the demo, but I haven't gotten to play it yet. But I'm really excited. It's published by Finji, who did like Chicory and a whole lot of other really great stuff recently. So I've been keeping my eye on them. And then one last one that I played today, not a whole lot, but just enough. Card Shark. Now, Card Shark, we did see. We saw that in a few different things. I think in Indie World as well as last year's Devolver Digital Showcase. Card Shark is a game that's you're based in 18th century France. Your character is this mute person that is kind of just stuck in a rut. What's that, Chris?
I don't think I saw this one.
We were really excited last year when I think it was first shown at the Devolver thing, because it's developed by the same people that made Rain, the Rain card series, the swipe left and right games.
Oh, yeah.
I remember this. Yeah.
And Card Shark, you actually are learning real world card games and quote unquote magic tricks. The first few bits of the game that I played, I learned how to help a guy cheat at a card game by pouring wine and looking at the opponent's cards and then wiping the table with a cloth to show the guy what suit they had, which was hilarious and ended in tragedy. And then your character is whisked away to this kind of I think it's a Romani camp that is really really interesting. You're very much a troubadour, like very Hunchback of Notre Dame sort of situation here, literally. And the second thing that I learned was how to do what is it is it 2-card Monty? Is that what it's called?
How did I miss this? Like, I remember this on the Devolver show, and I can't believe I missed it. And
Yeah.
there's so many Steam demos, so like,
So
I
many.
guess I could miss something, but
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
Lord.
And it literally, you are learning real card tricks and in very intriguing ways. Like it shows you how to shuffle, the whole pick a card, any card, and then how to get that card back and know where it's going to be when you show it to the person. And you can replay these little tutorials as many times as you need to. So once you get into the game for reals, you are put in a situation where your life is on the line, and it's really cool because you're just learning these real things in a very realistic setting, and it's just so intriguing. It's one of those things that it feels like a Devolver game, and you're gonna have to complete it no matter what.
Yeah, that's
Now, are the animations for this like so articulate that if I were to play this game, I would legitimately learn sleight of hand? Like, could I watch the animations of the people doing their thing, whatever they're
It's
doing, and be
it's
like,
not a
"Oh,
hyper realistic game, but the way that it presents it to you, yes, that's kind of the point. Because you actually in the I keep thinking it's 2-card Monty, but it might be called something else. But where you lay 3 cards down, and the person has to find a specific card. It's usually
oh
the
yeah, that's
queen.
3-card Monty."
3-card Monty, yeah.
Not even
So
close.
so they actually show you how to do that game, and it teaches you need to do this in a rhythm. So you need to take a card, any card, it's fine as long as you're using your rhythm. So tap B, tap X, tap Y, and you're setting this card down with this timing that should make it feel to the observer that you actually tricked them. And the game tests you on that. If you did it slightly off, it will fail you. So it's I can't wait to see how it is in the final game and the last few missions or whatever, however that's presented, because the life and death struggle here is real in this game. I think the consequences of messing it up would be really fun, and actually learning these tricks is pretty cool.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm gonna download that as soon as we're not doing any streaming stuff.
There you
So I
go.
don't mess
Yeah, it's really cool so far. But that's it for me. There's so much good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of good stuff, Thomas, what were you gonna say before I rudely stepped in there?
Well, no, well, if anybody was rude, it was me. But I was just gonna say, there's so much available to play that the reason or like the way that I've been able to avoid FOMO is to straight up just not look at the whole list. I just scroll until I see something I like, and then if I see 5 seconds of the demo that I like, I just download it. That way, I'm not like, I don't have indecision paralysis, right? I'm just like, this is good enough, let's go. Because otherwise,
it doesn't hurt anybody to wish list either. So.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So speaking of things that are good and or great, the first demo that I played, Thomas, and I feel bad for every demo that came after, Tinykin. Holy hell, this game.
The wave
of
the future.
Build. It is, as you can see, it's like sort of like a little bit of a Rick and Morty-esque animation style. But it is you were a tiny little dude in this world. You have little Pikmin creatures called Tinykins that are with you, and I'm in love with this game. I don't know what else to say about it except for I need it in my life now. It is just so good. The level design is like insanely high. It's got like elements of like I don't know, like Honey I Shrunk the Kids, like and with like the all the little insects and everything. This game is just so damn cool. You have to You have to go download this demo and check it out. It's definitely worth your time. It is so cool. I literally I could have been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and I wasn't. I was playing Tinykin, trying to collect everything in the room I could before the demo ended. So like it was like, hey, go through this door and you can finish this level. And I was like, if I do that, the demo ends. So I need to collect everything in here and try to find all the secrets and all those things before I do that. Just I am like, you have the little Tinykins you have ones that like help you move items. You have ones that explode. In the demo or in the trailer there, they showed ones that like stack to allow you to like climb up them and jump off to heights you can't reach. Solving the puzzles in this game is so damn satisfying. I was doing a lot of it without talking to the NPCs. But if you do talk to the NPCs, they give you hints of like, hey, maybe go over there and check that out. But man, this game is fucking awesome. I don't know what else to say about it except for that this game is like it maybe, okay, one of my top anticipated games of this year, just off of this demo. Like I think we saw it during oh, this looks so awesome. What we're watching right now. Sorry.
He's like, I wish I could play this right now.
I need this level.
Yes,
Carlos, I think, said it showed up at a couple indie showcases or even
this is
Nintendo Direct, maybe.
Yeah.
It shows up at a lot of that stuff, and it would be like they didn't really talk about it much. They just kind of like we saw it. We were like, "Whoa, what was that?" You know, one of those that's like in the reel. But man, this game is super awesome. Yes, it is very Pikmin-like, but I have never been into a Pikmin game. I am so into this game. Like I am about it. Like you see in this like trailer here, you saw them like carrying around some letters and a screwdriver. So you like throw out your guys to like carry some of those, and when they're carrying that, you know that okay, so somewhere in this room there will be something that I need to open with a screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
or you'll like there'll be like a mail slot that you need to throw the letters into. So there's like very intricate and interesting uh puzzles and things like that going on here, and I just think it should win some awards for level design because it is
Okay, Tony Hawk over here.
crazy.
Yeah,
It is insane what they're doing.
yeah.
I
Little
think my
person.
favorite thing about this is the verticality of it all. Like Pikmin games
Yeah.
weren't really known for like traversal to great heights or anything like that. But watching this video, it's so much more vast of an exploration.
Oh,
You
Yeah, and
yeah.
know,
it's like how he just walked into this little bar. It's like I didn't even notice the bar at first.
Mhm.
I like saw this like little restaurant thing and I was over there and then I started just wandering around and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And like walked into the room and I was like, "Oh, it's a bar."
And it
Yeah.
looks
Cool.
seamless. Like there's no real boundaries.
Yeah,
No,
so
there's
you start,
yeah.
you're in this big room, you're a little person in a big world, and like not everything is unlocked to you yet, but that's actually a good thing, I think, because the level is so dense, but
It's so dense.
it's very finely detailed, so that as you explore and you find stuff, you'll really like it really gets you to look closely at every little thing, which is wonderful. And
Yeah.
then you unlock a new area, and you're like, "Oh, I'll go in here." And then because you unlocked that, now you have access to all this new stuff that is adjacent to the areas that you were just in. So you're constantly unlocking more and more and more of these levels, and you're riding your soap board, your little
soap, or I think you get a coin later, and all these other things. Yeah, something I just want to like kind of describe how some of these puzzles work is there was a piano in this room, and I was like, oh well, clearly there's something to do with this piano because it looks like I can get inside of the piano somehow. So somehow I need to get in here. I noticed that a key was missing. One of the black keys on the piano. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. Don't know where I'm going to find that, but I bet I find it somewhere. I talked to the little bug that was standing on the piano. He's like, oh, please help me. My daughter is trapped inside the piano. Maybe go over to the restaurant and they'll have something to tell you. And I walked into the restaurant that I had walked into so many times already. And I look and they're using the key as a table. And like I didn't notice it before. But as soon as I knew what I was looking for, I was like, oh, you sons of bitches. And so I threw my guys that can carry stuff and they walked it over, placed it, and the piano opened up. And I was like, man, this is like it was so damn satisfying. And all I wanted to do was keep playing it. I even like restarted it after the demo and I was like, start a new game. That game is awesome. I'm so happy that was the first pick.
Yeah, and it looks like it's coming out to all systems and PC, so
Yeah.
everybody can have a good
It's
time.
gonna be
with
great
it.
on everything. Like
Yeah.
it's I hope that it also said PS4, PS5.
Mhm.
So I'm hoping that they have some functionality because this would be a great game for that. Especially when you're riding on like the silk strings and stuff to have like a little bit of resistance or something happen in the controller. Like that would just be the best. Couple other things I want to quickly shout out that I played, and most actually all of these have little videos that we did that'll come out soon. But another game that was a point and click adventure called Lost in Play. You're going to notice a theme here. Is very similar art style. I like hand drawn cartoon art. Surprise, shocker. I don't know a lot of people that don't like it, but it was really cute. It's this you're like playing as a little girl and this little boy, and they kind of get lost in playtime in their imaginations. So you'll be in the house just doing normal puzzle things like you would find in point and click adventures. Thomas, do you have a video for this one?
I don't think I do, but keep talking. I'll have it for you in a second.
It's just down there at the bottom. So very similar to point and click adventures. You're like, oh, the dog is asleep. I wonder if I can find something to wake up the dog. I'll figure it out. There's something here to wake up the dog. So you're just constantly kind of clicking on things and doing all this, but it's very, very charming. I mean, look at this. Look at this damn thing. The animation's incredible. it's very fun. I found the puzzles to be pretty satisfying, and point and click sometimes they can be a little too easy. But they were satisfying to me. They were never too hard. They were never too difficult. But I'm really into like point and click puzzle type adventures where you're getting into like the imagination of a child, because it allows them to do a lot of fun things. Like if you're looking at this, you see all these weird characters. That whole thing threw me. There's like this whole chess puzzle where you have to like play chess against this character. All the puzzles are very different from each other. No one is really the same.
And they don't seem that easy, all things considered.
No,
they don't seem like
checkers one.
overwhelmingly difficult or anything. But yeah, I'm glad I was there for you for the checkers. It was not as easy as I anticipated it to be, considering it seems like a children's game. But it's got real stuff going on in there.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, that one's available for Switch and Steam. That game, very cool. So check that out if you're into any point and click adventures.
It looks like Hilda and Gravity Falls like had a baby. I really, really like its art direction.
And they also like talk in like a gibberish type language that is very, very funny.
Yeah.
Like, it's very funny.
Yeah, it seems like a real quality point and click.
Yes, it's very funny. And then another game that we played right before we stopped doing demos yesterday, Thomas. This game, My Friendly Neighborhood. What type of horror show are we looking at here? So this is sort of like BioShock, but if it took place in if Sesame Street went wrong.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you are shooting like that little pistol. You're shooting letters at them, and they literally like letters like ricochet off of them, and it is wild. You have a shotgun there that is a book. You have to. So in each room, you don't really kill anything. You don't kill these Muppets, but you shoot them and they get knocked to the ground. And you have to have duct tape in order to tape them up so that they won't get up and attack you again if you walk back through the room. It is weird. I'm not sure who and why this has happened to us, but I played it and it did scare the bejesus out of me.
It was
they're
very
all like,
unsettling.
Hi, neighbor. Hello. We're friendly here. Like that kind of, and you're like, no, get away.
They're all the one was like, yeah, so I was hanging out with my friend, and then we had a disagreement. So I bashed his face in, and he fell over, but then we were laughing. It was great. It's just like, this is scary. I don't like you.
Yeah, it was a lot. And the way the way the demo ended for me was terrifying. So I turned around. I just solved this puzzle, and I was like, "Yeah, I did it!" And all of a sudden, I heard the door open and close. Then I turned around, and one of those Ernies was walking towards me. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll just boom!" And as soon as I shot him, he duplicated into like 8 of them, and I was just like, "No!" Dead. And that's how the demo ends. For at least for us.
Yeah.
I'm sure it went longer than that, but
okay. I didn't see that, so that's hilarious to know, because that was the subject that the developer actually had happen on accident. And
really?
The video went viral a few months back, so that's hilarious that they ended with that.
Like left it in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a single. I believe it's a single developer, small team. It is. There is something there. I don't know. I definitely not for me. But good lord, that thing scared. As soon as I shot it and it duplicated into 8 of them, I literally was like, oh, God damn it. It was just a whole thing. So yeah, that's. I played some other ones, but those were definitely worth talking about. So Thomas.
Let's talk about. I played 2 that really stood out. Let me. I had it pronounced earlier. So I played Abris, I think is what it's called. It's actually the German word for demolition. I found out.
Okay.
So we'll play this. I gotta update our title. I always forget. ABRISS is the name of this. It is a physics demolition simulator. It's exactly what you see in this video. It is simple and very satisfying.
Oh god, it's so cool. It was making Thomas's computer not good because it was like, oh my god, too much physics, too many explosions, too many particles.
But actually,
But,
so
That's a
what?
lot of particles, it looks like.
It was a zillion particles. But actually, the nice thing was it ran well on my computer. It was just when I tried to stream it to Chris that what he was
Yeah.
seeing was in
was like-
rough shape.
I thought it was struggling.
So
But it seems very cool.
yeah, and I'm glad it did look good on my computer because for all those particles, I was kind of worried.
Yeah.
But so the tagline of the game is "Build to Destroy." You have a platform you can build on, and sometimes you just want the tower you build or whatever to fall on the building to destroy the parts inside of it, the little red boxes. As you play through the demo, it's short and sweet. You could probably beat it in 15 minutes. You've got rotators and you've got lasers. So at one point, you have a rotator that just spins when you tell it to. You stick the lasers on it, so it just cuts the whole building in half and it falls to pieces. There was one with thrusters, where you you attach a rocket thruster to the back of this thing, and it launches into these buildings and just completely destroys them. Another one was pistons. You've got a ramp, and you want your super heavy cubes, as they call them. You want them to roll down this ramp and then get in front of the pistons, and then the pistons just launch them at incredible force, taking out everything in their way. But if you like physics simulators at all, if any of that trailer looks good to you, go down the demo. No kidding, 15 minutes, you'll be able to experience the whole thing. That's like a big recommend for me. It was exactly what I wanted it to be.
That's one that I was like stunned on how good it looks. Sort of like a Lego Builder's Journey. Like I was just like, whoa. This looks crazy. Like the visuals are like incredibly impressive for what it is. It is very, very cool.
It's very
Did it
pretty.
have any real goals though?
Destroy the stuff. That's it. There's no story. That's all there's to it. There's a sandbox mode that has a tiny bit of functionality for the demo, but they explicitly say like we're gonna have more later. You can see stuff that's behind a barrier that you'll unlock later. But in that sandbox mode, you can save whatever you build, which would mean it's clearly very accessible for people building their own levels, which I'll be excited for. Because in a physics simulator like this, all you want to do is just mess around. So the idea that Chris could make something and send it to me, I could do that, make my own, and then send one back is really cool. But that game is, on its website, it is described as a physics destruction puzzle game in a stylish, surreal, futuristic city world.
Basically, the goal is there's like these little like red like shiny orbs in all the buildings and structures, and those have to be destroyed. So that's the objective, is to destroy those.
Yeah,
and then it'll give you a percentage of like how much of the building was actually destroyed as well at the end.
It's a really pretty version of Angry Birds. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yes.
That is the team that made that is Randwork Cooperative. It is 3 students from East Berlin, trying new ways of making games with old cooperative principles. So that'll be out on PC sometime in 2022. So sometime this year. But I really like that one. The other game I played was Lost in Phantomland. I don't even have a video for that one because tracking down any information on this developer was impossible. The game was cool. There's no information, but the developer is somewhere in Asia. I don't know enough to tell you if the writing I was reading was Chinese or Japanese, because you can see where it's been translated a few times. But that game has elements of a traditional tactics game where you've got your grid, you've got scenery, you've got different types of enemy units. But the new thing is that it has it's a card battler. So you've got all the things you would expect to see in a Slay the Spire. You win a combat, you pick a card, you add a card to your deck, you try to get those decks, or you get those cards to synergize with each other, and then you go through the map. There are places you can heal, there are stores where you can buy new cards. I thought it was cool to see those things put together. I've never seen that before. Not to say that those games don't exist. I mean, maybe they do. But that's the first game like that I've ever seen or that I've ever played. It seemed fine. There was nothing wrong with it. It definitely wasn't a bad game at all. But it didn't like pop to me enough. Like, it's a quality game, and that's the praise I would give it.
I enjoyed. I'm higher on this than Thomas is, but like I thought the writing was very clever. Like while he's doing the tutorial, the person that's giving him the tutorial is like, "Do you know how hard I worked on this?" Like because he's like, "I'm just trying to skip," and it's like, "No, do you know how long it took me to make this tutorial? Stop it."
You know how much I sacrificed?
Yeah.
The guy's like, your character gets like transported to this world, and he's like, "I can't move. Am I standing on a Roomba?" Basically. Like,
yeah, because he's just like on like he's almost like a
tabletop piece, like a chess piece or something.
Yeah. And I also love that in certain levels it was raining, and as it was raining, that would change the terrain. Like, so it would be grass normally, right? And then it's raining, so after like a couple turns, now that grass is mud because somebody was standing on it, and that increases your damage or hurts you, or it makes it tougher for you to move. And then, like, if the mud turns into actual water, then you have you take more damage or something like that. Like, it was just interesting. There's interesting layers, and then there was also like a couple of dice sitting next to the board as well that did say something about the order. So I'm wondering if you could shuffle the order of things, or if the dice would come into play at some point as well. Like you could upgrade your cards. It was everything that you would expect from that kind of thing. And I thought the writing was very clever.
Yeah. The other thing is that it was trying to tell us. I don't know if we saw this really, but when you die, because it is a roguelite, kind of like Wildermyth, which we've been playing recently, when you complete a campaign or you get to some point that we did not reach in the demo because I intentionally killed my character to see what would happen after you die, some of that stuff carries on to the runs afterwards. So like it seems like you might have certain characters or items show up. I'm not sure. Maybe when you beat the boss, you'll be able to like save a card to use in a later deck or something. But the game was telling us that the more you play, the more varied the situations are going to become. So, Chris, I look forward to maybe watching you play that in the future.
Yeah, maybe it becomes an a la carte feature for sure, because I thought it was cool. I think the name is silly. But
welcome to Phantomland. Just like Shanny Pack and chat, we made lots of jokes about the orange soda. So.
Yep.
So that's it for me. I watched Shanny Pack and Odysseus play a few games. I'm not going to go in depth with those, but I watched Pandemic Train, which was like Snowpiercer except with a plague, and it's got kind of some like twin stick shooter type stuff. It's not a very good description of what that is, but it was all right. One called Creature Lab, where we got to see Odysseus be an actual mad scientist. It's like if somebody if you've ever played like Power Wash Simulator or something like that, it's a very zen game. Like Shell, who plays Power Wash Simulator, she got me into Viscera Cleanup Detail, which is a game where your job is you're the janitor for a place where like terrible accidents happen. So you have to clean up like blood and body parts and stuff. Creature Lab kind of reminded me like that. You're not like cleaning up blood and guts and stuff, but you're actually experimenting with like chemistry tools and pouring things in beakers and all that, and then you're trying to mutate these people so that you can send these mutants out into the world. Yeah, Frankenstein style. But it was very calm. So it's like if you like actual science and zombies and probably lo-fi beats to do homework to, then you would probably like that game. I watched Shanny Pack play Camp Canyonwood, which is you're a camp counselor and you try to take care of your little kids that are following you around. Shanny Pack did a terrible job at that. The second that the sun went down, his children were getting attacked by bears, by hornets. It was awful, but it was very funny. So that was entertaining. Food Truck Simulator was the other one that he played. We also had Deadpool and Discord play that. Real silly. It's made by the people who made Gas Station Simulator, and it's just what it sounds like. You maintain your truck a little bit, you drive around town, and if you're shanty pack, you narrowly avoid hitting literally every pedestrian in the city. And then you arrive on site and you serve people fries and burgers and stuff like that. It's just what it sounds like, and if you like those games, you'll probably like that one. But boy, there are just a zillion games to play in this, and we're not done yet. I mean, I don't have any more to tell you about right now, but we still got 4 more days to play this stuff. So,
speaking of those, Debbie, what demos have you been getting into?
So I've been checking out a couple. One I'd like to quickly shout out is called Soldier, and it's SOUL, as in soul, like your spirit, honey. It's very Dead Cells like. So if you've played, I would say it's like really like a classic Sonic game plus Dead Cells. I mean, if that makes sense to anybody, I'm not really sure.
Sure.
So I just wanted to quickly shout that out. I actually haven't like played a lot of it yet, so I didn't want to like dive in depth to it tonight on the cast. So I did want to shout it out though for people to check out because it's gorgeous and the movement is like really, really, really keen. But I don't really know anything about the story or anything like that. So I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention to check out. But the first demo I'm going to mention that I actually have played is Coramon, which is a demo that I have been following for quite a long time now. It's been in various beta stages for, gosh, I don't even know how long. But they're starting to get their final footings going, and they put their stuff together, their best foot forward, I think, right now for the NextFest. A lot of stuff has been polished up. A lot of stuff has been changed around as far as like moves and abilities go. But for those who don't know, Coramon is, as the name would imply, a monster tamer game. Not unlike Pokemon or another game, Temtem. I really like my monster tamers, y'all. Like, I don't know if you know this yet, after 59 episodes, or 58 rather, but I really like monster tamers. So every time a new one comes out, I'm always all over it. Except Nexamon, which I still have yet to try out, but Carlos did that. So what this demo has really proven to me is that they're really open to feedback. The developers have been really, really listening and changing the game and stuff for the better. And the main difference between Coramon and something like Pokemon, for instance, is not only like the amount or the types of types that there are, but just the mechanics in general and how they work. So instead of like using HMs or anything like that, you have what's called in the game, I think, a gauntlet. And the gauntlet is kind of like the different powers that you have in like Golden Sun, if that makes sense. So like there's a move one, there's one that allows you to like break stuff and destroy things, or it's just typical HM stuff, but in like gauntlet form. So instead of having to rely on your Pokemon doing all the hard work and taking up move slots with the moves that you need to traverse the world, you have in Coramon this like all utility gauntlet, which helps you travel that way. The music in the game is really good. There's one track in particular where you're like in a hideout of some kind, where I actually reached out to the composer because I was like, this sounds like a lot like Frantic Factory from DK64, which is one of my favorite games because Donkey Kong Country is like my favorite series. So DK64, of course. But I reached out to him and I was like, is there like inspiration behind that for the song? And he said, yeah, actually, I was listening to Frantic Factory while composing this, and like a lot of the motifs and stuff were really inspiring the direction of the song. So I was like, wow, okay. And that was back before most of the songs had been really, really composed. So when I get the game for real, I cannot wait to hear the rest of the songs because Frantic Factory is a banger. I don't know if y'all know.
Yeah.
It's a banger. But yeah, Coramon, check it out. I mean, I've always been on board, but I have a special bias for it. So, because I'm in the game. So, I'm
Not sponsored.
not sponsored. Hashtag ad. If you like Monster Tamers and you're looking for something to take you back to the roots of like classic Pokemon, I think you'll enjoy Coramon a lot. And I think my favorite thing, I never actually mentioned this. For as many times as I've talked about Coramon, I've never, ever, ever mentioned this. All of the creatures in the game say their own name, like a Pokemon would. So, like, instead of like a chiptune-esque, like sound, it's
Yeah,
they
yeah.
say their name when you send them out of their capsules. And I just thought that was such a neat little touch.
Mhm.
Because I can't remember the name of the there's a snake in it, but like when it says its name, it's all like, as a snake would be slithery and stuff. It's so neat. I think it's called like Slitherhook or something like that.
That's good.
It's so cool
You don't have to wait for the TV show to hear the
to hear how it's said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or for them to change it later. Arceus.
You mean Arceus?
My ears.
Arceus Arceus. It's the controversy of our time.
I think so, honestly. Well,
What other demos have you been getting into, Debbie?
so I'm really, really excited about this one because as much as I love monster tamers, I just love monsters in general. So when I first saw the trailer for this game, Gigabash, I was all in from like day one. I joined the Discord, I followed them on Twitter, I followed them on YouTube, everything. If I could find it, I was following them on it because I just wanted to watch this development of this game and see where it was going. Because the concept, I just love kaiju brawlers in general. War of the Monsters is one of my favorite PlayStation 2 games. And this is really, really like the heart of like it captures the heart of that game. At first glance, a lot of people thought it would be more like Rampage, where you're more like destroying the buildings and everything and causing mayhem for the people.
Mhm.
But this is more like an arena brawler where you are like free for all or 2v2, 1v1, it has those modes. It's got a special mayhem mode where different kind of objectives need to be accomplished with your monster to succeed. So lots of really good stuff right out the gate. And what I really like is how much it taps into the different archetypes and tropes of kaiju media. So you have the Gundam, of course, you have to have your signature Gundam.
Yep.
You've got like the big reptilian baddie. You've got one of them is a mimic that
Mhm.
is like it mimics a building. So you could just be fighting some other monster, and then all of a sudden, like a building will get up and move and like start chomping at you.